right, let's go live. Get this all set up here. Hey everyone, I'm seeing the big red button, which in this case is a good thing. So let's make sure we're coming through okay. Happy Thursday to you. Here we are back for another live training. Someone commented on our Instagram that they enjoy our trainings, and these are my absolute favorite thing that I get to do. So I'm thrilled to be back for another one. Let's make sure we're coming through okay. If you can see and hear me, will you do me a favor and like this video? I see some eyeballs. If you're an eyeball, even if you're scrolling on by, go ahead and give this a like. Make sure I'm coming through okay for you. We're talking all about today how to know if your website is actually working. Because it's one thing to know you have a website. It's an entirely other. Thank you. Hi, Paul. Thank you. It's an entirely other thing to know if it's actually doing what it should for you, right? So that's what we're talking about here today. Now, if this is your first time joining us, we do have some new faces here in the group. My name is Anna Walker. I get to lead this incredible community. And if you're new here, you are in for a treat. This is one of the most special places on the internet. An incredible community here, all about helping you market yourself in a way that is equal parts authentic so that you don't feel slimy, icky, gross, and effective where you actually get the clients, right? We're here for both of those things. If you're joining me live, please say hello in the comments. Hey, Gail. Hey, Paul. So happy you're here. Let me know where you're joining from. And the benefit of being here live is that you get to ask questions, although I am happy to answer your questions after this event wraps up. This will be live on Facebook for 30 days. It will live forever on YouTube. So maybe you're watching this years from now. I welcome your question. Drop it below and we'll chat. But the benefit of being here live is that I can't talk through your questions. So, hey, Ashley, so happy you're here. Hey, Jilly, nice to see you guys. All right, as I mentioned, this is all about how to know if your website is actually working. We're gonna talk about 3 signs it's doing its job and then what to check into if it's not. You need a website, right? Like we're pretty clear on that. Your website is your #1 marketing tool. Everyone says you need one, so you create one. Is it doing anything for you? Right? That's what I want to talk about today. I'll hear often from clinicians, I like my website, but I don't know if it's doing anything. Okay, that's what I want to help you with. Another really interesting one, sometimes I hear from people, hey, and I love my website, but I'm not getting clients from Google, so I don't think it's working. And I'm like, well, you're getting clients, yes, but they're not coming from Google. So that means your website not working. So anyway, I want to break this down. I want to show you how to assess whether or not things are working without jumping to an expensive redesign that you might not need, burning it all down and working at Costco, although I've definitely been there and had those days. Okay. So that's what I want to do today. Now, as we get into this, it's really important that you understand why a website actually matters. And we consider your website to be at the heart of what we call your client conversion engine. Your client conversion engine is the system that leads people to decide to work with you. If you do not have this engine, if you do not have this system, then the marketing that you do to fuel that system isn't going to do much. And that's really, really frustrating. It's why the website is the first place you should be investing. It's why it is absolutely critical that it do its job, because if you're pouring fuel into an engine that doesn't work, we're not going to go anywhere. Okay. So the website is the heart of that. Everything else that you're doing is funneling into and fueling that engine. So if your site doesn't connect, if it doesn't convert, if it isn't set up well, then even all the other great marketing that you're going to do is not going to be as effective as it could. It's about magnifying your efforts and actually getting results from them. And that's because of what we call the client journey. If you're new around here, you need to understand this concept. If you're not new around here, you need this refresher, okay? So when people decide to become a paying client of yours, they didn't just decide that overnight. They actually went through 3 incredibly important phases, okay? So the client journey starts with someone being unaware of you. All they know is that they need some support with something. They don't know who you are, where you're located, if there's someone that they should work with you, whatever. All they know is that they have an issue, but they don't know that you exist. Then they move to the next phase, which is aware. They hear about you. Word of mouth, Google, Psych Today, social media, podcast, whatever it might be, they know of you. Just because I know you doesn't mean you're the therapist for me. Okay. They have to get to that third phase of being sure of you in order to know that they're actually going to proceed. Okay. Your marketing's job at a high level is to move people across that journey. First, they have to become aware of you. Then they have to become sure of you. Now, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, I've been teaching, these concepts for going on 7 years now. Your website had more power to cover the whole journey. It could draw someone all the way from unaware to sure, and it still has that potential. But that awareness stage, going from unaware to aware, that requires more ongoing effort than you used to, primarily as it relates to SEO. So while your website can help people learn about you for the first time and help them become sure of you, the real heart of your website's role is in that latter part of the journey. Your website's job is to support that final critical step, helping someone go from aware to sure, from curious about you to committed to working with you. In this market, that is where your website absolutely shines. Okay. So that's why you need a website, if you were wondering. That's where your website fits on this journey. Now, before I get into the 3 signs to know if your website is working, an incredibly important caveat for you. Before you judge your website, we have to determine if enough people are even seeing it. I have had people come to me after they have worked very, very hard on their website. Maybe they hired a designer, maybe they went through a program of ours, whatever that might be. And they're like, Anna, my website's not working. And I look at their website and I'm like, looks pretty strong. Maybe there's some areas for making it better, but it looks pretty good. How much traffic are you getting to that website? And there's nearly none. We cannot evaluate if your website is working if we don't have any data to show us. Okay. So if you have built your client conversion engine confidently, you know that, your website is set up to do its job, and we're going to talk about what that looks like. But if you know that and it's still not getting results, the issue isn't likely the website. The issue is the fuel into that engine. Okay. So in that case, your focus needs to be on fueling the engine, not fixing it, because the engine itself might actually be running pretty well. We just don't have enough fuel in it. Does that make sense to you? You can't evaluate an engine that's never been driven before. Okay. So before you launch your website and then a month later rush to decide the website isn't working, we have to evaluate if we have enough data. And I would love to tell you, hey, hit this number of monthly visits and you'll be golden. I can't. I wish I could. I love numbers and I would love to do that. A good benchmark, though, is 150 to 200 visits a month at minimum to your website. That's the goal that you should be striving for, to at least have enough data to know, okay, when people are coming to my website, is anyone reaching out? Okay, so that's the important caveat here. Your website might be fantastic. We just don't have enough traffic to it. Okay. Okay, all those caveats out of the way. Let's actually get into the signs. Okay, so the signs that your website is working. So once you're getting some traffic, here's how to know if it's actually pulling its weight. Okay. Number 1, people are telling you. People are telling you it's working. We have had the absolute pleasure of supporting some Confident Copy alumni post-graduation this year, which is something we've never done before. So they graduated in May, and then we are supporting them for the 6 months after that. So we have one more meeting in November. And I've heard from them, because we always kind of celebrate some wins, we check in every month, that they're starting to hear from people, hey, your website spoke to me. I reached out to you because you said this, quoting their copy back to them. Okay. If people are telling you that your website is resonating with them, guess what? Your website's doing its job. Okay. Especially if those people are right fit clients who you want to be working with. Okay. So if you are hearing things like your site spoke to me, or I already felt like I know you, or I'm already ready to get started, it's likely your website that did that job. Okay. This feedback tells you that your copy is doing some labor for you. It's actually moving people. It's building connection and trust and readiness. You actually have a chance to do those folks. So what's happening here is the website actually priming, getting that. So the first people. And I hear that from people, but I don't hear it enough, then that might be just more of a fuel thing. We just need more fuel. But that's showing us something's resonating. I mean, absolutely nothing needs to change your website or improve. No, but it is a great benchmark this sign is who's actually reaching out. Okay. So if clients are coming in warm, they're coming in and they know your niche. They come in and they're not asking you, do you work with couples? And you don't. They are coming in and have a good understanding of your specialties. You're not having to kind of wield so many wrong fit inquiries. Then again, your website is doing some pre-screening. In Confident Copy, we talk about this as blessing and releasing. So your website is designed to attract and convert the right fit clients, the people who are the best fit for you, that light you up, that make you excited, that get the best outcomes. And the other job of your website is to bless and release people who don't fit that bill. Your website should be doing both of those. So if you're getting inquiries, but they're not the right fit, and that's often a rub I'll hear from clinicians, that tells us the website, there's a disconnect, right? And it's not doing that filtering piece the way that it should be. So even if it's converting, it's not converting the right people. And that can point us to there being a need and a mismatch and a need to fix that mismatch, right? So clients need to be coming in with an understanding of your specialties and the right fit for you, because they've been able to see themselves and sort of self-qualify through their experience on your website. Okay. All right. The third one, it's obvious. How is your website? How do you know if your website's working? You're getting inquiries through your website. So this is kind of calls back to the statement that I shared at the beginning of the training, where people will be like, Anna, I'm getting inquiries through my website, but they're not coming from Google. Your website's primary job is not to bring in traffic from Google. It's to convert the people who land there. Okay. Especially in this market where SEO is not just a set it and forget it. Well, my website is optimized, and now what? And whatever you're doing in your practice, that might be networking, that might be directories, that might be social media. Even if they've heard of you somewhere else, guess what? They're still not sure. They're only at aware. If people are becoming aware of you from listservs and Facebook groups and your social media efforts, whatever that might be, your website, if you're hearing from them through that site, did its job getting them from aware to sure. Now, might they have already come in trusting you a little bit? Absolutely. I talked in a recent podcast episode about trust transfer. That absolutely might have done some work for you. But if you reach you the website, that website probably did some work for you, especially if it's happening consistently, right? So if your contact form is getting used by people who are the right for you, you can feel pretty good that your website is doing what it should be. Not having as much as you'd love, then maybe a few with the you want in that case that they're a filtering issue. But fundamentally, your website is doing what it's supposed to, because your website is the final step in that decision-making process. Going from aware to sure is almost exclusively done via your website. So if people are getting here on your website probably did some work there. So you should trust that, as opposed to being like, well, I'm not getting people from Google. I think, especially pre-pandemic, that was like the thing. You launched a website so that you could get found on Google. Get found on Google. And today, I want to see you get found on Google. Can you optimize the basics of your website and get some traffic? Yeah. But unless you're going to be investing in your SEO on an ongoing basis, that's unlikely to be like the only driver for you. You're probably not going to get your full caseload that way. That's okay. Your website's job is so much bigger than that, that I think people have kind of narrowed the benefit of their website just down to whether or not it shows up in Google results, when in fact you can get clients in so many different ways. And in this market, you likely need to be engaging in other strategies. So as people are coming through and going along that journey, your website needs to be drawing them this way, regardless of how they found you. So, all right, those are my 3 signs. I'll get into what to do, what to check, or what to fix, right, in a moment. But if you guys have questions, having watched this, please do let me know. This has been a quick, kind of actionable one. But if you're sitting here right now, first of all, pull up your analytics. Actually, step back. At the end of the day, where should you start here? If you're like, I'm completely confused, I have no idea if my website is working or not, I have no idea if I'm getting traffic or not, you have to start with the engine. Okay? What I don't want you doing is, okay, I think my website's okay, I'm going to go spend a whole bunch of time marketing it and see what happens. I would so much rather you be confident in the engine and then fuel it. Does that make sense? So if you're sitting here right now and you're completely overwhelmed by this whole thing, you have no idea if your website is good or not, we need to focus on making sure that it's a client conversion engine. And we have some great trainings on that. The Marketing Therapy podcast is another great resource, but that engine needs to be doing its job. You need to be really confident that it is set up to do what it needs to do, okay? Our Confident Copy grads, you would hopefully be graduating Confident Copy with good assurance that your content needs to do what it needs to do. So first and foremost, we got to build the engine. Because if you're just pouring fuel into nothing, where are we going to go, right? Then the question becomes, are you getting enough people there? Because it's very easy to freak out and to assume all of your hard work was for naught, when in fact we just need more people, we need more fuel. And that's where your marketing efforts need to be focused. So if you know you have the engine, then go look at your traffic. Are you getting enough traffic to your website on a regular basis? Are you getting 150 to 200 plus again, as a basic benchmark, that is not the end all be all, but is a good target. If the answer is yes, then are you hearing from people that your website resonates with them? Are right fit people coming through? Are people actually reaching out? Those are the signs that tell us. Now, I know of a clinician right now who is, she's a done-for-you client of ours. She worked so hard on getting clear on her niche and bringing her website to life was an absolute joy. She has done an exceptional job of getting people to her website. Her traffic numbers look good. She's hearing from people, and yet she still feels a little anxious right now because they aren't coming in as quickly as she wants. And so if you check all these boxes, you're like, Anna, these things are happening, but it's not as quickly as I want it. Then we have two options. We have one, add more fuel, which you might kind of feel like you're maxed out, right? You might feel like I am doing everything that I can. You know what the other option is? Don't shoot the messenger, a little bit of patience. You are unlikely in this market to fill your entire caseload in 1 or 2 or 3, maybe 6 months. Okay, this is going to take time. What you can do in the meantime is make sure that these things are happening to stay consistent in your fueling of the engine, your fine tuning of the engine, making sure that it's working, right? And in this week's podcast episode, I actually talked about how we can't set and forget your marketing. And I give some examples of what you can be doing on an ongoing basis. I'd be happy to drop that in the comments if you guys are interested. But what you do in the meantime, while you're being patient, while you're actively fueling the engine, is you just look for opportunities to improve. But you start with that criteria. 1, do I have the engine? Is the engine set up to be what it needs to be? If not, update the website, join us in Confident Copy, find someone to help you from a strategic perspective, not just a it looks pretty perspective, but a strategic perspective to make sure that engine is working. Then, are we getting enough fuel and eyes on that engine? And then from there, is that engine doing what we need it to do? That's the decision-making criteria. And I think a lot of times clinicians get that backwards. And it actually feels easier to work on your website than it does to go out and tell people about it, right? Like, how fun is it to change button colors instead of go send a networking email, right? I know that. But when you go through it in this process, you're actually going to make the most out of your time and effort. So if you are getting traffic to your website, but some of the things we've talked about above aren't happening, then maybe we need to get clearer about who you help, how you help, where you're located, making sure that those are being communicated immediately, right? Maybe it's more about your tone. Like, are you being warm and approachable and human? Or do you actually seem clinical and distant and kind of sanitized in your website? Are you showing them what's next? Are you guiding them toward taking the next step? Or just kind of praying they'll know and figure it out? Okay. If the website isn't converting, then usually we need to be improving what's already there. Rarely do I recommend to a clinician, let's just scrap it and start over, but we probably do need to be making some optimizations if these types of things aren't happening. Okay. So if it's working, if you're like, no, Anna, this is happening, awesome. Fuel it patiently. Okay. That's my advice for you. 2025 has been wild. It's been weird. It has not been what a lot of us have expected. And yet I can call to mind countless clinicians who are continuing to get full fee clients in their saturated markets, despite what's going on. It's possible. But you know what they've done? They've fueled the engine and they've been patient. That's my, if you take nothing else away today, fuel it and be patient. If these things aren't happening, if you're not sure if you have the engine, like I said, join us at Confident Copy, do what you need to do. If you got the engine, but you don't have the fuel, That's where your focus needs to be. And this week's podcast episode could be helpful for you there. If all these things are happening, but we don't have these signs, then it's time to start looking at how do we improve, how do we optimize, and go back to making sure that client conversion engine is doing its job. Okay. So rather than marketing being linear, do this and then this and then this and then this, it's far more cyclical. Do this, optimize, do this, optimize, learn, optimize. Okay. That's the constant cycle of being a business owner right now. It's not a set it and forget it situation. It's something that you can always be gaining information from and just further optimizing. But that's what I want you to be looking at when you think about whether or not your website is working. Your website is working, even if you don't get tons of traffic from Google. Your website is working, even if it's not working as quickly as you might want it to be. Your website is working if you're hearing from people. But if they're not the right fit or you want more of them, then there are things we can do here. But I want you to feel empowered rather than powerless, like that you're just at the mercy of your website, you're at the mercy of the internet. Like there are actions you can take here. And so my hope in this training was to equip you with some of those things that you feel like, okay, I am in the driver's seat, right, of what's going on. Alrighty, that's what I had for you today. That was our training. Any questions from you guys? I don't see any in the comments, which is perfectly fine. Although sometimes Facebook likes to not tell me they happened, which is helpful. Let me just double check here. All right. All right, I don't see any questions, so hopefully that means this made a ton of sense to you guys. And if I'm missing your question, as soon as I close out of the video, I'll see it and then I'll answer you there. But thanks for being here today. If you joined us live, if you're catching the replay, hopefully this was helpful for you. I imagine it's still relevant. This is a process that we continue to refine based on the market, but it's also just kind of the tried and true of what we're seeing work. So I am cheering for you guys. Like I said, I love these opportunities to be with you. I welcome your questions and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.